welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, joined here with our senior draft analyst, Chris James. And Chris, now that the 2014 NFL draft is complete, lots of good things that we've seen this past May, but we're going to take a look at the Cincinnati Bengals and hand out some draft grades. So let's just jump right into the video to see how well the Bengals did this past May.
We've grown accustomed to the Bengals having great drafts, and the byproduct is that you have a roster stockpiled with young talent and not a lot of spots on the roster, which is why I think this 2014 class is a mixed bag of results. However, they came in with some good talent like Russell Bodine out of North Carolina, who's very athletic, especially in a running game, and Will Clark, who had a very good East-West Shrine Game week, showcasing a wider range of pass rushing skills, doing a great job every day in one-on-ones. What I like most about the Bengals draft was number one, Darqueze Dennard, the cornerback out of Michigan State. Here's a guy that has good all-around game with very good ball skills. He excels in press coverage and is also a very good run defender. And I'm a big fan of the Jeremy Hill selection out of LSU. At 6'1", 233 pounds, Hill has very good footwork and vision, a la Arian Foster, and is a very good downfield receiver, not just a swing, screen, and flare type of a running back. He has very good hands, and in my honest opinion is more of the style of Bernard as opposed to Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, which also tells me that they wouldn't have to switch offenses when Hill is in the game, and that just puts Ben Jarvis Green Ellis on notice and probably makes him the odd man out. I also like the A.J. McCarron pick. You can't argue production, and he was extremely productive at Alabama. You can even make the case that he and Andy Dalton are the same player. Dalton is a little bit more athletic, but having a guy with the pedigree of McCarron at worst gives the Bengals a good plan B if Dalton's contract becomes an issue. What I questioned about the Bengals draft was the later rounds, round 6 and 7. I feel as though this reflected what I alluded to earlier in the video about consistently drafting well only leaves you with so many available slots on the roster. So maybe they drafted specifically for special teams, but at the positions they picked, better options were available. Trey Hopkins out of Texas is a very athletic guard, and they ran weak side a lot, and that speaks volumes of what Hopkins and his teammate Daniel Thomas did in the running game for the Longhorns. And I'm also a big fan of James Wilder Jr., who's more of your classic quote-unquote big back. At 6'2", 225 pounds, Wilder can play both tailback as well as fullback, and he also possesses very underrated receiving skills that wasn't utilized a lot at Florida State, and he has very good vision. Alex Newts out of Buffalo was the Bulls' main threat in the passing game. He also has great run after the catch skills, and he can play both inside and out. And I was surprised that Isaiah Lewis out of Michigan State went undrafted. He's a solid, strong safety with coverage skills. He plays extremely fast, and he'll be able to make his mark on special teams in the preseason to earn that roster spot. I gave the Bengals a B- for their draft. They started out fine but tailed off at the end, and the undrafted free agents pushed the grade back up from a C+ to a B-. But like I've said before, it's tough when you're consistently drafting well in all the rounds to find spots on the roster for guys in the incoming class, so I guess that's a good problem to have. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Bengals fan forums for always showing football game plan support.